Okay. Hello, and this is the outro with Sir Strife. And if you come on, we have the right to record you, and it'll be uploaded to YouTube later tonight. And we have James. Realistic Nihilist is not in right now. JD for you. Atheist Coffee. Bought 2 bits, and Sam. And let Sam start the topic since he was not here earlier.
Oh no, I'll jump in whenever.
Okay, then let JD for you start.
Start what?
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Well, JD, why not? I mean, you were saying that you have a different view of evolution or a different idea of creation. Could you just give us an idea of what your creationist view is?
Yeah, good idea.
All right. Well, I do believe in a old Earth, so 4.5 billion years old, the Earth. But the thing is that when there was Adam and Eve, yes, they did have their own children, but they were not the only people on Earth. If you read the Bible, because everyone says, oh, well, they all had sex and it was incest and everything, but it wasn't. If you read the Bible, it actually says they went to a town and it was full of people. So, God did actually create other people, and that's how the offspring came out. Things like that.
Wait, so you believe?
How is this not just blind conjecture?
That's it. I mean, you take it on faith, but where's the evidence?
I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on, I have a phone call. Just give me a minute.
This seems to always happen.
I hear an echo again. It's always.
Yeah,
it's
going
always
to Biola. Yes, sir. I'm coming to California.
Adam and Eve went to a town. Is that in Genesis? Which bit of Genesis was that in? Because I can't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean,
you're still on, right? G for you.
I know that.
Oh, do you want me to mute my mic?
Well, if you don't want us to hear your phone call.
Okay, I'll mute.
I know that.
Now we know where you're going. People will hunt you down and threaten you.
Hey.
I know that Genesis 1, it says, I mean, I don't have the Bible in front of me, but it says, God created men and women, and then Genesis 2, it separates, and we have.
I thought he made man first, and then he used the rib from man to make a woman.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's Genesis 2. In the original, in Genesis 1, which is a slightly different version, in Genesis 1, he creates men and women.
Well, not only that, I mean, Adam's first son went out and founded a city. I mean, with who?
Well, yeah. Cain then goes out and founds a city somehow. I don't know where he finds the people, but apparently he does.
But I guess we can't really debate it right now because we had kind of a hit and run.
Is he back?
I was just checking to see where he got this. As I say, in Genesis 1, yes, it doesn't talk about Adam and Eve. It talks about God creating men and women.
It's an admirable attempt to kind of put together one's religious beliefs and the evidence of science, and not just say, science, blah, I'm going to choose my religion.
Well, it is, isn't it? That's what people, try and do. They do try and reconcile religion with belief, and it would sound like JD has the issue that he's
back.
He's trying to retain the idea of original sin, and therefore he has to retain Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
But
my question for you, JT, the panel has a question, which is, you still believe God created Adam and Eve, right?
Yep.
So they didn't evolve.
Yeah, that's the thing. They didn't evolve yet. What was the point of God making 4.5 billion years if he created man? Well, I don't know how long ago that would be for you, but you know what I mean.
Well, there's something called gap theory. I don't know if you all know about it or not.
Well, we
I
know.
don't think gap theory is a theory, though.
It's not a theory. It's just a blind conjecture.
It's a version of creationism.
Hang on, let him talk.
Go ahead.
But here's the thing. Why do I hear an echo?
I have no idea.
Bod your mic.
Yeah, I don't know why his mic does that.
no, I'm muted.
Oh, it's not his.
Okay. Anyway, so basically, there is also a theory within creation where there was other things that were created before Adam and Eve, which I am actually leaning towards, which could be an actual form of evolution. Um, so, and I don't just go with, oh, well, God created Adam and Eve and that's how it is. Like I said, I still keep an open mind towards these other theories. There's not just one answer to anything.
I think
Well,
it's very
okay,
admirable,
okay.
actually, to
As an-
not discredit the scientific evidence. I think the biggest challenge to that is Hitchens' dilemma, where he talks about the evidence we have for hominid evolution, and we have all the fossils. We've got Heidelbergensis, we've got Neanderthalensis, we've got Floresiensis. We have all these.
Just to note, Neanderthal is not part of human evolution.
No, it's another hominid. It's
Another hominid, but it didn't lead
They're
to us.
Neanderthalensis, yes.
Yeah, they're our cousins.
But we have this evidence, and so for hundreds of thousands of years, heaven watched with folded arms as they suffered and died in agony. And by all accounts, they were physically and mentally very similar to us, if not in Homo sapiens for the last 100,000,
yes, they were.
200,000 years. They were almost identical. But that's the dilemma that I found with theistic evolution, especially in the early part of my deconversion. I was thinking about what was the plan there? They just suffered and died alone and scared with no answers.
Right.
I would, if I could just add to that, JD, before you answer it, is that assuming you're accepting the 4.5 billion years, then you're accepting that dinosaurs were the masters of our world for 200 million years. 200 million years. Ignoring the Bible side of it, the best we could hope for humans is stretch maybe 200,000 years. So the dinosaurs were around for 1,000 times longer than any form of human that we could recognize.
Yeah.
And God just watched them live and die.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Well, you were saying you say that the 4.5 billion years was there, and then at some point Adam and Eve. Which, if you're saying Adam and Eve, then they've got to tie into the Bible narrative somewhere. So you're talking about sort of 6,000 years ago, Adam and Eve. Well, the dinosaurs died out 65 million years ago. They were around for 200 million years. What was God doing all that time?
I do want to say something. I don't really agree with the whole 6,000 years ago thing.
Yeah, we figured we know that part, but we're saying you said that you believe God made.
Where does the Genesis story factor into your beliefs?
He said but this is the thing. He said that he believes the Earth's 4.5 billion years, right?
Right.
And you said that God created Adam and Eve, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So when did God create Adam and Eve?
I mean, like I said, there's the gap theory, and so I guess the best way I can explain this. What?
Well,
No,
what is the gap theory? Because this just kind of
Between
sounds
Genesis
big, sure.
1:1 and Genesis 1:2, that there's billions of years of evolution.
Yeah, but that doesn't tell us when Adam and Eve were born.
Well,
I'm just failing to see
That would have been
where I'm failing to see where any of the I hate to be that guy, but I'm failing to see where any of this is much more than speculation.
well, no, it is, and that's
Yeah,
the
it
thing
is
when-
speculation.
Well, let JD answer that. So, in your view, without having to explain gap theory to us, how do you see the Genesis story? When do you think Adam and Eve were created?
I myself, because I don't completely accept gap theory. Okay, but there is no specific information given in Genesis concerning the proposed gap of time. But if you look in Genesis 1 verse 2, the word was is more accurately translated to became. So such a word choice actually makes the gap interpretation easier to see in modern English. I speak Hebrew, so I can really give you a better background of what the real words in nowadays are supposed to be.
Well, let me call you up on that. If you translate into became, I mean, became has Germanic origins, the verb to be, to do with law and order. That's I have to be honest, like as a linguist, as somebody who's a studier of language, proposing that language employed shapes your understanding that God then created the universe is not valid, unfortunately. Although I revel in your attempts to make intelligence out of the writing style of those writing the Bible, it's not that doesn't make sense. Like just because the roots of the word was, and as you said you spoke Hebrew, that doesn't compute really. Yes,
the other point is, of course, when you say you speak Hebrew, doesn't mean because the Hebrew you speak is actually greatly dictated by the King James version of the Bible, because at the time the King James was written, Hebrew was a dead language. It was a dead language till 150 years ago. It was a language much as Latin is now. It was a language of prayer and nothing else. And so when the King James was written, when it was extracted from previous versions, extracted from the Greek and the Latin, it wasn't a translation, it was transliteration, then modification into the English of the King James. When the Hebrew language was revived in the late 1800s and subsequently on, they actually went back to the King James and to the Germanic translations of the King James and such like to extract the most modern versions of the words from the original Hebrew. So, people say, "Oh, I speak Hebrew." Well, no, they're not speaking the Hebrew of the Bible as it was written with the meanings that was written down with, because those meanings were reinterpreted when the King James was written down.
But even further than that,
I'd like to jump in. When you say you speak Hebrew, I mean, what kind of level are we talking at?
I'm still learning it myself. I go to classes, but we're talking original Hebrew.
Even further than that, you have to establish the authority of the Bible. Why should we care?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's also a big issue.
I mean, so even if you knew exactly what the Bible said and meant, we have to establish in some way that its claims are valid.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I don't know why my headphones are making it skip.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was just in that, why should we, even if we knew exactly what the Bible said and meant, why does that have any bearing on what we should believe? We have to establish the authority of its claims. Do its claims have any bearing on reality?
Hey, let me get out of this and then call back because it keeps skipping, and I'm hoping to try to get it fixed. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, I tried taking Hebrew, honestly. I took Hebrew once upon a time, and I could not learn a single squat or diddle because it's just such a dead language, as he said.
I used to know it well, but again, like, I'm not going to trust... I mean, the greater issue is I'm not going to take someone who's taking first year. I'm not going to trust someone who's taking any sort of first year language. But just as, I've taken, close to 8 years of Spanish, and I wouldn't trust myself on my interpretation of, let's say, something like Cervantes. And the Bible is much more different.
If we were, though, trying to get some use out of this conversation at all, it would be in that we have an individual here that has perceived the arguments against his position and has tried to adapt the Bible around them, which is another case for the kind of method denomination of Christianity. This kind of breaking down as individuals interpret in completely different ways until we see almost a leaderless religion. To what extent do you think that is at all accurate? Do you see yourself with a leader at the helm? Do you see yourself in at the mercy of your pastor, for example?
I don't have a pastor.
But do you worship? What's the deal, I guess?
As in, What?
He's asking what your spiel of belief is, I guess, pretty much. Like, what,
Yeah.
like, oh, what are you? Are you a Jew? Are you a Christian? Are you evangelical? Are you, like, yeah, what?
I am Jewish, but I'm a Messianic Jew.
Right. So you attend the synagogue.
If there was one around me, I would.
So okay, but what do you do on the weekend then?
On the Sabbath, I stay home. I mean,
Do
it
you-
says to rest on the Sabbath, and that's what I do.
But now you see my point. You seem like actually I don't know if I'm being at all accurate in this, but you seem to uphold all the traits of a modern secularist, despite you kind of saying that you believe in gap theory and everything. Everything you've said to me so far kind of leads me to believe that you don't really put yourself into your religion, and that you would actually be happier, or at least more successful discounting it, because I feel like you've actually agreed with a lot of things that we've just said, and you must uphold yourself that that Judaism needs to indoctrinate more than other religions, I would say.
I would say that yes, it does indoctrinate more. Of course, I would put Islam right there next to it, but it's not that I'm completely agreeing with you. Like I said, I'm one of the few Christians or Messianic Jews or believers, whatever you want to call me, who keeps just a actual open mind to the things that other people will say. So I'm not just going to say, whatever you say to me, I'm not just going to say, oh, well, you're wrong. But I will say, yes, I see your point of view, and then I will research it. I've actually been taking notes here, whatever you all have been saying.
Wonderful.
So,
and that's ground. However, like I'm saying, and I'm not trying to be impertinent, but everything you're saying is just somebody who's learned, unsure of their actual belief system, and are therefore agnostic. Would you see yourself as agnostic?
I wouldn't see myself as...
Everything you're saying, everything you are projecting, is suggesting that you are. In saying that you're open to the beliefs of others, is simply discounting those that have taught you to be a Messianic Jew.
No one has taught me to be a Messianic Jew, though.
Okay. Well, but do you see what I mean? I mean, like,
I see what you mean, but there's a difference between being agnostic and keeping an open mind.
Yeah, if you've read the Bible, though, if you've read holy books or whatever, that's your method of doctrination. That's your method of teaching that has then compelled you to seek a higher being, and that's your method of teaching. You go against that by saying it might not be real, by saying you might have doubts, you might agree. Do you see where I'm coming from? That there's a level of there has to be a level of doubt in your mind, and I'm not at all saying that's a bad thing, but I am saying that perhaps it needs to be harnessed.
It's a good thing.
I was say, it's not a bad thing. That's the thing. I don't go into something and say, okay, well, this sounds good. I want to believe in it. I'm not one of those people. Like I said, I want to keep an open mind and be able to research everything, and be able to come to my own personal conclusions.
Okay,
sorry.
Try and get a couple of specifics. As an example, the Pentateuch, the Torah. Do you think that Moses was the author?
Do I think Moses was a what?
The author of the Pentateuch. The first 5 books of the Bible, do you think they were written by Moses?
There's a lot of debate on it, even within the Jewish community. If you read the Talmud, there's.
Or I suppose the question then is, do you think they were divinely inspired?
He's asking for your opinion. It's not. Really...
I do believe that, but there's 2 different beliefs when it comes to Moses. One says that Moses literally wrote it himself. Another one says that Moses got inspired from God and was told things from God, and then he told someone, and then they wrote it.
And do you think that there could have been, and I'll give you this as a pure example, when you're saying somebody else may have written it, just this week we've had the things going on in Boston, and I'm sure you've followed it on the news as we have over here in the UK. I'm sure you probably have more in the US, and you will have seen how the misinformation and the misreporting had to be continually corrected. And this is in the 21st century with the most up-to-date communication skills we had. There was suspects being picked up, and then they hadn't been picked up, and then etc. etc. So what would make you think that the Bible had been written down perfectly 2,000 years, 3,500 years ago, whatever?
I guess I would say I'm not going to say that everything in it is perfect, especially not today's translations anyway, but I am going to say that, there is a lot of, historical research in it that shows that there are quite a few things that show that the things that are written down did happen.
Oh, but do you understand that the history is irrelevant? Because I mean that because if I've been reading Sherlock Holmes recently. Sherlock Holmes has a lot of history in it. If you read Sherlock Holmes, you can learn an awful lot about Victorian London, but that doesn't mean Sherlock Holmes is real, or any of the characters in these books are real. And so if every single piece of the history in the Bible was absolutely accurate and none of it was under question, that would be irrelevant, because the only things in the Bible that are of any interest from a religious standpoint are the supernatural. And if the supernatural is not real, then the Bible's not real. It doesn't matter how much history is in it. And one point on the history, again with the Pentateuch, is the famous case of the city of Dan, which I think is Abraham who went to the city of Dan, which didn't actually exist until Joshua went over there and created it and founded it. Yet in the Pentateuch, Moses writes supposedly about Abraham going to the city of Dan, which didn't exist for hundreds of years afterwards. So, that's a historic inaccuracy anyway.
Right.
So when you have these historic inaccuracies, do you not then think, well, if the basic history and geography is wrong in that Bible, and these are these are the fundamentals, they couldn't even get that right, why should I believe the supernatural?
I don't know how to explain this. I mean, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but like I said, I don't fully accept everything. But, I will believe certain things until, after what I research, I'll come to my own personal conclusions and say, okay, this is truth.
I mean, that's great, yes, and I think we all do that, but it's not particularly helpful to keep saying so, unfortunately. I mean, you want...
Well, give us an example of something supernatural.
You wanted to come on here to presumably debate or argue with us against something, presumably.
No, actually, I just asked him to come on. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, he just.
I mean, and don't take it the wrong way. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I think we're all pretty much in the same boat. What we're trying to do in everything, in every claim, is examine it. It's in more of a scientific method. Where you take a claim and you try to pick it apart. You try to look for its weaknesses. You test it and see if it stands up. It's not that I don't want to attack you in any way. I want to examine claims. I want to examine things that are said by people that are true, and I want to take them and I want to pick them apart and I want to rigorously test them. And I think that's where it's not a personal attack. It's that we want to just kind of get to the root of it and see if these claims are true.
Yeah, I agree. What do you believe, and why do you believe it? So, I mean, maybe that's where we should start, JD. Tell us something that you'd be classed as supernatural within the Bible that you believe, and tell us what it is that makes you believe that.
Well, I guess you would say that Jesus is supernatural, right?
Hmm. Well, to some degree.
Right. The
Well,
things
are you
like
talking about the claim, the belief in?
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't. I don't even know if he even
I'm
existed.
just.
okay, there we go. Can I don't know who was talking last. Someone said you don't know if he existed.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
whether he
not
existed
universal
is a.
agreement.
I mean,
It's
it's a
not
mute
important
point,
though.
really, because if a guy called Jesus, a Jewish rabbi, existed, so what? I mean, that if someone existed and they did supernatural things, then that's of interest.
Yeah.
So what, tell us something, say supernatural from the Bible that you believe, and what leads you to the conclusion that that's a rational belief.
Right now, I believe in God just on the fact that there are certain historical things that point to the, um, I guess, to the possibility in the, uh, I guess, the logical thing to believe in the uh, Christian Judaic God. What the hell is wrong with this computer? Okay, there we go. Okay, and things like the history, like I said, pointing towards Jesus and everything, and even the history in the Old Testament, the prophecies that happened, etc.,
Oh,
etc.
all right. Wait a second. Then let's get specific. You mentioned prophecies. Now, I
Such
get this
as
thrown at me. I get
such
this,
as
hang on.
Isaiah.
Let me carry on. Let me carry on. I get this thrown at me quite a lot, and I always say the same thing. The people who wrote the Bible had the Bible in front of them. The people who wrote the New Testament knew the Old Testament off by heart. Anything in that Bible which prophesies something in the same Bible is no different than you watching an episode of Columbo and seeing the person commit the crime at the beginning and then later on going, oh, I know he did that, I know they did that, because it's the same book. You would have to point to a prophecy that that is unambiguous and specific, which occurred after the Bible was written and codified, and show how that was prophesied in the Bible. Any prophecies that are fulfilled within the Bible are irrelevant because it was written knowing what was there.
So, like the prophecy of the Jews getting their homeland back that happened in the 1950s.
But
Where's that prophesied in the Bible?
Well, here's the thing, and I, this is the issue that I have, and perhaps I'm misguided, but to me, prophecies aren't that convincing to me, at least as someone who like works in science, because of the fact that, you haven't laid out anything that would prove it false. I mean, it seems like predictions to me are useless unless they can be falsified. I mean, that's science. I'm not saying science should be applied to everything, but my judging of these predictions, because, people could have predicted based on the movement after the Dreyfus Affair in the 1800s that there would be a Jewish state because of Theodore Herzl and Zionism. And that can be completely secular, completely apart from the Bible based on being a shrewd political mind. And
Can I reply to Bod 2 Bits? I believe that's how you say it. You asked where is that prophesied in the Bible. You read Isaiah 66 verse 8. It says, "Who has ever heard of such a thing? Who has ever seen such a thing? Can a country be born in a day, or a nation be brought forth in a moment? Yet no sooner is Zion in labor than she gives birth to her children."
I'm just curious though. I'm just curious.
Sorry. What date was that given there in Isaiah? What date did they write down for that? The point is, it's not a prophecy. It's not a prophecy.
I mean, my question.
It's as prophetic as Nostradamus.
I would very much like you asserted, JD, actually, about the Jews getting their homeland back. Actually, And I mean, we can go through all the rigmarole of talking about how there was no God when they were being thrown into a gas chamber and all that. But what I'd rather do is talk about how that is absolutely in denial of almost every person on earth who's not either Zionist or of Israeli descent.
I was going to say, isn't it by definition a nation comes in a day? I mean,
I mean, I don't really want to get into all the fabrications of state and things like that. But there are many Palestinians who also believe it to be their homeland. There are many Christians that also believe it to be their homeland, to be the place where Jesus walked and started, and everything like that. That it's an absolute assertion to say that the fact that they got their homeland back is evidence of any relevance in the Pentateuch at all. It makes no sense. And I would even go as far to say it's quite disrespectful to those that kind of fought to have that area back, and those that died in the Holocaust to a lesser degree, actually. That's not correct. That is not a good thing to say. You can't use the deliverance of a state as any kind of you can't exploit that for your own beliefs. I have to be honest.
Well, even if say you can line that up. Say there was a prophecy that they were going to get their homeland back, and they did. What people don't do is simply go to Google and type in failed Bible prophecies. They never look at the prophecies that were made that did not come true, that can be demonstrated to have not come true and have been false prophecies. False prophecies in the Bible. Nobody ever looks. This is confirmation bias. Sure, some of them seem to have come true. Some of them also seem to have not come true.
Also, don't forget the
map, and no one will ever live there again for as long as the earth.
Don't forget
the
biggest one. The biggest one is that Jesus said that to his disciples that he would come back in their lifetime. People tend to forget that one. In the lifetime of his disciples, I mean.
Oh yeah, but you're obviously interpreting that wrong.
No, yeah.
It's always our lifetime.
Well, I mean, my question would be, I mean, isn't a nation by definition comes in a day, like 1776? Like,
Well, no, I mean that's the difference between a nation. I mean that's political.
We've actually lost JD.
We did?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
What do you think happened?
His
Skype crashed. He said, "Here he is."
No, the whole point. I mean, I haven't read it for a long time because it is so rubbish. But that whole nation of Israel prophecy takes extreme numerology. They start multiplying days by years and weeks by 7 and everything else to get to this date of 48. And there are prophecies which carry on from that. And ever since Israel was formed in 48, the end of the world has been forecast because that same prophecy forecasts this and this and this and this. And we have numerous end of the world prophecies ever since. It's just utter rubbish. And I would say that you've managed to pull out one prophecy which wasn't specific and occurred 2,500 years after it was written down. And that's the best justification you've come up so far with for believing in God.
I'm just hearing robot noises.
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
Sounds like R2D2 and C-3PO talking.
And lots of sighing.
But pretty much he left again.
I think he was having Skype
I think
problems.
he's having PC trouble. I'm just going to get a coffee.
Well, Bible thumping Wingnuts on, but I doubt he'd come on.
No, he won't.
God. I've never talked to that guy.
He's just like Sci-10.
I don't have time.
I know,
for
he
positionals.
blows Sci-10 on a daily basis from what I can tell.
No, that's
To lie with man is an abomination.
Doesn't say anything about sucking his dick, though.
Oh yeah, never said anything about oral.
You don't have to be lying for that one. You could be kneeling, and kneeling seems to be holy gesture to those people.
Exactly.
No.
You're praying to the almighty penis.
Yeah, baby.
So
This
is what
sometimes
happens when me and
goes.
my dad talk together. It just degrades to
This,
this.
yeah, it goes in just. Oh fuck.
This time was not my fault.
If you guys could see my Facebook right now, there are so many butthurt tears right now at the moment.
What do you
It's
mean? What'd you do?
wonderful.
Why is that?
So I go to a pretty conservative religious. I mean, it's not meant to be religious. It's a state university, but the main population is very religious and conservative. It's I go to Texas A&M University, and there's an annual thing that they have at Texas A&M called Muster. It happens every year, and it's basically it's a giant, look at me being a good person jerk,
Circle jerk.
circle jerk, where they go and honor the Aggies, the former students of Texas A&M who have died in the past year. And
How many people have died in the past year? I mean,
I know, and I personally think that it is the biggest, most pointless thing ever. And I made my thoughts known on Facebook, and there was so much butthurt you could cut it with a knife.
So
Just
you're not so
tons.
popular right now.
I don't give a shit. I've never been popular. I've never done anything to be popular. I just think it's funny how people, get butthurt when they get called out on their bullshit.
is he coming back or no?
I think he might be trying to.
He's been trying. I told him to quit Skype and restart it, see if it helps.
I like the comment on your status that is, "Wow, you've officially hit an all-time low."
Well,
I think
also,
that is-
Lewis, I found somebody you have to rip on.
Who?
Lord Stephen Christ. I'm sorry,
God.
I just had to bring it up to him.
Strife.
I'm sorry, he just
I have to jump in there. Strife, like, I know it's like kind of fun to take the piss out of a guy who is trying to start a cult and believes himself to be Christ, but it doesn't do anything. It's not becoming at all. It's getting to the point. It's getting to be.
The dude legitimately thinks he's Christ?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, this has gone so far to where he's trying to take out police orders on people because people won't stop calling his house and things. The guy is.
Oh, that is a little out of hand.
The guy projects hatred, but he knows that, and he's never going to change. I don't think it's even worth spending any ounce of intellectualism on him. Like, I don't understand why, and yet I'm still talking about him. I just don't think he's part of the dialogue anymore. I don't want him to be.
Who's that one random, weird asshole who, says that the Bible is, the mark of the beast or some shit?
That's him. That's him.
That's him.
Oh, is he on YouTube?
Yeah. He has
Dude,
a whole...
he's an
guy,
idiot. I debated him about so many things, and how can you
I
know?
forget his name. His name is
Lord Stephen Christ. That's his name.
No. It's some other guy. His
Oh.
name is shit, I completely forgot. He's a weird fella though.
So it's not the guy that I'm thinking of.
And then there's that awkward silence,
Yeah, it's because I'm trying to think of his name. He Losoyo comments on his shit a lot, and so does I think Bible Thumping and Wingnut does too.
His name is Bible is 666 or whatever.
Yeah, that's it. Chase Jester is his name.
But no, he is
His
an
name
idiot.
His name is Chase Jester. That's it. Yeah, he's special.
But no, the thing that gets me is he will use verses from the Bible to try and disprove or try to prove that the Bible is the mark of the beast. You can't do that.
Well, yeah, I mean that's.
Wait, who invited Mr. Crazy Boy?
I did.
Wait, he's on? He actually speaks?
I am. I think I am.
Okay.
Who is Mr. Crazy Boy?
He's a
I am
crazy
the
boy.
greatest. I was going to say atheist for a second, but then I was thinking actually, hang on, that's not my faith.
So who are you?
Introduce yourself to your adoring fans of, I think, maybe 12 people.
That makes me happy. I'm a Christian, live in London, I'm 20. I've got a job recently working with Mercedes. Pretty much it.
Are you a creationist?
You're going to have to remind me what that is. It's currently 2:40 in the morning for me, my brain.
Oh, shoot.
He's in Britain, I think.
Do you accept evolution?
That's why I'm so fucking tired.
Do I accept evolution? Kinda.
Well, do you know what evolution is? Because like I hate it when people. Honestly, I hate it when people ask the question, "Do you accept evolution?" Because 9 times out of 10, the person who asked the question doesn't actually know what evolution is. That's not the case with Atheist Coffee. I know him, but almost 99 times out of 100, the person they're asking doesn't know.
Isn't an evolutionist a guy who thinks that we evolved from a fish?
No.
No. That's
No!
I had to make that point.
I'm sorry.
There was a dog, and he came out of the sea, but he was blind, and he had to find another dog.
That who evolved at the right place at the right time.
Yeah. The one dog in the whole universe had to find another.
You know what the funniest thing I ever heard is? If we came from molecules to man, I'm like, if we came from molecules, why? If we came from molecules, why are there still molecules? Like that's actually what somebody. You ever seen the video Question of Four Origins? It's by the Peanut Butter Man.
Yeah.
Peanut Butter Man. Yeah, it's by Peanut Butter Man, the guy who thinks when I open a jar, I'll find life in it, or something like that. It's just stupid shit.
Yeah, but it makes you laugh, doesn't it?
Yes. It's like Banana Man.
He's hilarious.
It's like,
I like it.
I just.
So, Mr. Crazy Boy, you accept evolution?
I can
doesn't
see why
sound
people
like it.
believe it. I can see why people follow that or believe in it or whatever you want to call it, kind of thing. I can understand it because the way I see it is, like it says in the Bible, one day to God is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years to God is 1,000 years to us is a day to God, because He works outside of time, all that lot. So where it says that He created the world in 7 days, and evolutions and scientists come up with the theories that it took so many million years to create the world. I can see how they believe that, because I wouldn't say they have evidence for it, because they don't really have evidence for evolution, all that lot.
The point is they do have evidence for it. I'll give you one example, one small example, that will tie some things together. You're probably aware of PET scans. They're so common now. Anybody who has any problems with their body, they go into hospital and they have a PET scan. And a PET scan uses a radioisotope which goes into the body, and that releases positrons and electrons which are picked up. The gamma rays are picked up by a magnetic detector, and they show tumours, etc. That precise same technology is the technology that's used to age the rocks on the Earth. It works in a PET scan, and it works for dating rocks for exactly the same reason. When you drive in your car and you use your GPS, and your GPS gets you to within a couple of meters of where you're going, that GPS works because of the science of relativity. And that same science, those same satellites up there that are telling you where to go, are measuring the spreading of the seafloor at the mid-Atlantic ridges. And the magnetism which switches when the North and South Pole switches, which they do every few thousand years, are locked in to that rock that comes up from the mid-Atlantic trenches and then solidifies. And because of that, we know how fast those trenches are spreading, and we know how long they've been spreading for. So we know, for instance, that India, about 50 million years ago, was at the southeast side of Africa, and then moved up and collided with the Eurasian plate. So we know that that's evidence. That is the rubbish that Ken Ham comes out with, this observational historic evidence, which is nonsense, because they are the same thing. Exactly the same tools that we use. The same reason your computer works, the chips work in your computer, is exactly the same technology that's used to date the Earth in numerous ways, which are all cross-correlated and which all give the same date.
Okay then.
I mean, like what I've. Oh, go ahead.
No.
I mean, like.
Sorry, go on, sir.
I was gonna say, like, what I have heard of. I just forgot it. Go ahead.
Okay, that I did not know. So thank you for updating.
Sorry, can I just say, if I may, I'm getting off now. I've got an engagement in the morning, but it's been a pleasure. I hope to be on again.
See ya.
See you, James.
Good night, James.
Bye, James.
Good night.
I don't want to promote myself, but I will. For Mr. Crazy Boy, I do have a series of videos. I think 4 videos on dating techniques, and they go through radiometric dating, ice core dating, dendrochronology, and I think the other one's just an introduction on dating techniques. Which, please watch them, and if there's anything in there that you think you disagree with or have questions about, ask them. But I'm a layman. I'm not a, I don't have PhDs in this stuff. I read it up, and I produced videos that I thought would be accessible to anyone.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll post your link into the description bar.
Just send me a message, or whatever.
Or you can go to the video when it's on YouTube later tonight.
I will be in bed.
Well, tomorrow then. Frick, what was I gonna say? The whole thing with historical dating, like, the whole thing that Ham brings up, or Ken Hovind saying, you can't date history. Like, the whole, I think pretty much that they say, like, by that logic they use, you cannot say Newtonian physics is accurate because Newton did it 300 years ago. By that same logic, that's what they're saying. If it can't work 300 years ago, it won't work yesterday, and it won't work tomorrow because something different will happen tomorrow. Like, they're pretty much saying that, right? Would you agree, Bits?
Well, the most fundamental error in Ken Ham's logic, and I'm sure, Mr. Crazy Boy, you've listened to Ken Ham, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? The most fundamental flaw in his logic on his observational historical science argument is that you cannot know historical science because you were not there. That's his mantra. Well, you weren't there when these guys wrote the Bible down. That's the simple fact.
Uh-huh.
You have no idea what their motives were, how accurate they were, how sane they were even when they wrote the Bible down. The Bible is pure historical science, science in the loosest word, as in knowledge.
Yeah.
And so unless you can prove the science is real, which you can't through observational science, then you cannot hold that up as a piece of evidence.
Oh no, I don't. When I'm debating, I don't really go refer to the Bible all the time. Like I know there's Christians out there that refer to the Bible left, right, and centre. Every other sentence they say is a reference to the Bible. I don't do that. I just kind of put it out into perspective of how I see it. And
okay, just before you go on, you don't rely on the Bible. So my question to you would be, if the Bible didn't exist, what would your religion be? If you'd never heard of the Bible and nobody you'd ever met had ever heard of the Bible, what would your religion be?
I can pretty much guarantee you I'll be going to hell.
Well, that's what I mean. The point is, the Bible is the Bible is the only evidence for God.
I've had this discussion.
Well, the question is pretty much, without the Bible, you would not know of hell, you would not know of Christ.
Oh yeah, then I would have to consider myself an atheist. Don't try and catch me out on that, because like I said, I'm extremely tired. But yeah, let me.
We're
just
making
go
you
back.
say things that you don't want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The people, they're gonna get you. I don't know.
Yeah, this is the time to get me, guys, at 3 in the morning.
Well, technically it would be 5
Uh,
plus 12 is it is 3.
But yeah, going back to the previous conversation where we were talking about the aging and all that lot, and etc. etc. Like I said, I don't go back and refer to the Bible.
Wait.
Hang on, let me just finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Goes my head. I do use one tiny thing. I haven't really got an answer from it. I mean, I've had answers from it, but it didn't really answer my question. My question is that it's not really a question. It's more like a statement. But isn't it true that if there was so much, because from my knowledge, scientists have claimed that if there was too much helium, we wouldn't survive. If there was too much this, if there wasn't enough that, if we were...
I think that I'd like to stop you right here because I'm pretty sure that no one says that.
That sounds like
the issue, and I have to go, so I'd like to have a final word. The issue here is that, like, it's very difficult, for people to, a lot of the problem is that there's a fundamental gap. The level of education that it takes to be an expert and to fully understand, just part of the scope of any discussion in any advanced science is just an immense amount of time. And, what I would suggest the best thing is not to go to the Bible or to go to the internet necessarily, but to go to a local university and talk to someone who's doing research in evolutionary biology. Because I've met evolutionary biologists who have turned me on to stuff that's very, very interesting, because I don't work I work in biology, but not in evolutionary biology. So it's very, very interesting, but, again, it's I can only speak from my own experience, and I've met, dozens upon dozens of people in my field, and I've never met one that was a creationist. And, I'm the type of person where I trust in the scientific method and in, what the scientific consensus is on a given issue.
Okay.
Mr. Crazy, you were talking about levels of healing. Were you talking about the fine-tuning argument that certain things have to be just right for us?
I heard it a couple of years ago. There was this scientist guy who became a Christian. I can't remember his name, even if I prayed or whatever. But he was saying something along the lines of that the Earth was this much further away or this much closer, we wouldn't survive if there wasn't.
That's the entropic principle.
The other.
But yeah, there are two sides to that. One side is the pure anthropic principle, which is the fact that we're here means that there's an absolute, the probability of us being here is 1 because we are here, and it's only because we are here that we're able to ask these questions anyway. There's another argument to it, which is the other side of the fine-tuning argument. The fine-tuning argument says if all these physical laws weren't just as they were, we wouldn't exist. Well, that begs the question, because if these rules have to be exactly as they are, then if there was a God, he isn't omnipotent because he never had a choice but to set them exactly as they are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Yeah. So if there was a God and he's all-powerful, then he would have latitude on setting all these physical constants of gravity and the forces.
Well, the way that I would answer that or reply to that is that because he is God and he can create all things, and I'm not going to go into the full detail, but I'm just, for argument's sake, I'll say this. He can create anything he chooses. He doesn't have any limits. If he wanted to, he could create this world with a little bit more helium. He could create us so we're dead right up against the sun.
Excellent. Which would mean that we're not fine-tuned, because he could have created it that way, and the Earth could be where Mercury is, and we could all be breathing helium through gills with 8 arms each, and we would then be saying, isn't this wonderfully fine-tuned? Because if we had too much oxygen and not enough helium, and we only had 2 arms instead of 8, so God must be wonderful. Do you see what I mean?
And what I say to you to that is touche.
You've created a circular argument, haven't you?
No, yeah, I can see where your argument's coming from, but I'm not going to refer to the Bible again, but I'm going to have to. It says that we were creating God's image and likeness, so I believe that he created us like this.
So, does God have a penis?
Huh?
Does God have a penis?
He has a vagina as well.
And a penis. What do you think he does with them?
Huh?
Wait, why does he have them if he's the only God? If he's the
I
only
just want to know what relevance that holds. Why does it matter if God did or did not have a penis?
No. The question is,
well, are we created in his image or not?
But why does that?
Hang on.
Why does that put that God must have a penis?
No.
We are talking about a supernatural being.
But what does the word image mean?
No, you were talking the Hebrew words. It very specifically says in the Hebrew. There's tautology in the text. It says we were in his image and his likeness. It couldn't be more specific.
I know. Let me answer this for you because I had to do an essay on it. In the Bible, if you look through the ancient Hebrew and the ancient Greek, it refers to him as masculine. Oh crap! Why was he referred to as masculine?
Because pretty much everyone thought he was a man.
No. He referred to himself to as the masculine term. What was it? I done a damn essay on it. Let me bring it up. You guys continue chatting. I'll find it.
It's also because he was defined as masculine because it was part of a patriarchal society where the male.
Yeah, because you do think about this. What do all the prophets of God have in common? Not a single one of them were a woman. Right?
No, hang on. I've got it.
Well, there were prophets who were women, actually.
Who?
Who?
Have you not read Ruth or anything?
Yeah, but wasn't Ruth the offspring of the incestuous rape of Lot's daughters?
I don't know.
Well, okay. The main figureheads are males. Is that better? Even if there's one female.
Right, but you said there were no.
Well, I don't know.
None of the prophets, none of the renowned prophets were female.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Was there any female prophet who claimed that I was talking to God and led the Jewish people in a sense, or did anything?
Oh no, she would have got stoned.
Well, yes, there was. If you know anything about Purim, you would know that there was a woman in it who actually played a huge role in making sure that the Jewish people didn't get wiped out.
I've got it. I just read through my essay quickly. Okay, so as you were saying, he is referred to in the Greek and the Hebrew as being masculine, like Yahweh, Elohim, Adonai, Kyrios, and Theos. Yeah? So, Hebrew and Greek, he's referred to as masculine gender, and he's never really given a feminine name. But the word spirit, Holy Spirit, the word spirit in Hebrew is in Greek, is benevma, which hasn't got it's gender neutral. It hasn't.
Yeah, but that's Greek. It wasn't written in Greek. It was written in Hebrew, Aramaic.
Listen. And the Hebrew word for spirit is ruach. So
yeah, which means wind or breath.
Which means breath.
Which isn't masculine or feminine.
And hear me out. But the gender of a word in Greek or Hebrew has nothing to do with the gender identity of that thing in the ancient Greek and Hebrew.
What do you mean by image? That's pretty much the question we're asking. What do you mean by the image? We were made in God's image. Does that mean he looks like Jesus? Did he look like?
No. When it says image, it doesn't mean literally how we look today, like male and female. Image in I think it's Genesis. Yeah. Sorry, my brain's slow. When it says we were made in His image and likeness, it's not talking about our image as in how we look and everything. It's talking about our image as in our identity, as in.
And what about the likeness?
Well, no. When we see that it says image of God in Genesis 1, I believe 26, it means being God's representative rulers in His creation.
It doesn't say
and it's similar to ancient practices, such as kings placing images of themselves in distant parts of their kingdom, and the use of idols in temple worship. Both represent kings or gods and signal that they are. You should let me
give me a historical reference where any king stated that he placed his likeness in a tributary nation.
I'm talking about image. I didn't say anything about likeness because that's what we were on topic of.
Image. Tell me a historical reference where a king, an ancient king, stated and is written down that he put his image, meaning a deputy, in a foreign land.
Did I ever say that he put it or he wrote it down? No. But if you want to look in ancient Mesopotamia, every nation had pantheons of gods, and they all worshiped their gods through images.
Yeah, but we're not talking about images. We're talking about people.
We were just talking about images. I was putting my input on that.
The problem
you said Adam was God's image.
The problem is this: when you say God, nothing comes to mind except when you say Jesus. A guy with a beard and white, I guess, comes to mind. But when you say God, the Jewish God, nothing comes to mind because it's intangible. There's nothing tangible about the word.
You got God the Father, God the Son, and God.
No, but that's Christianity. I'm talking about Judaism.
Sorry, yeah. What I was discussing with JD was that we were talking about that in the Hebrew it says his image and likeness, and you said that was sort of an analogy and using the saying that was a normal thing to do, but then you slipped on to talking about icons and images of gods, but that isn't what Adam was. Adam was in the image and likeness of God.
I don't know.
Which means he was God's representative ruler in His creation, like I said.
Well, you said
that's what I'm saying. Where is your justification for that? How are you justifying that?
Okay, if you look in the Hebrew and the definitions, that's what it tells you.
No, it says image and likeness.
I don't know necessarily on this as well.
You obviously don't look at the definitions then. There's more than that.
I'm still curious though, since when does God, then what is Jesus, if Jesus is not the ruler of everything later on?
Well, I don't believe in the Trinity, so...
Well, what do you believe Jesus was?
I still believe Jesus was the Mashiach, or the Messiah, excuse me.
But?
Mashiach.
Hey, I'm sorry, but
oh wait, this I can't even pronounce her name. So she's from Israel. Maybe she could give a hand with it because she speaks.
Yeah, you just kept talking about Hebrew, so I had to come in. So anyway, what were you talking about? Because I missed the last.
The definition of what word are we looking for?
Image and likeness.
Okay. What passage though? What passage?
That's why I'm just checking it up now.
Genesis 1:26 through 27.
It's pretty much image and likeness. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it means. It means image and likeness, doesn't it?
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
There is no other. It actually in brackets. It's in Strong's. It says in His own image, in the image of Elohim. Created He him, male and female. It couldn't be more specific, really.
That kind of makes no sense, though, because when we say he created male and female from his image, how does that exactly make sense since one thing has... I don't know. It just makes...
This is the Bible.
I know.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter because even Hebrew is very gender-specific language. So even the word Elohim is a plural male form.
Well, yeah, it sounds male when you say it, Elohim.
It is. It's a plural male form, not just male form, because El is the singular male form.
So he was a male transvestite. Is that the best thing that we can think of?
Is it Rayuma?
Yeah.
Okay, Rayuma. So, how would you, if you would have to say it in English, how would you say God created man?
In Hebrew, you mean?
No, in English. Would you say, as we say in English, in his image and in his likeness, we're meant to, so that we are meant to look like him, or?
Oh yeah, well, it says בצלמו ובדמותו, so דמותו is likeness. צלמו, it's a bit hard to translate because it's like it's sort of it's image. You can say it's image. It's very high.
Can I interrupt and just
sure.
My brain started to work a bit. When it's referring to image and likeness, it's that he's talking about the same thing. Image and likeness in this context are the same thing. They're not different. They're the same thing. So when he's talking about the image or likeness, God is, or Moses.
He doesn't say oh. He says and.
I know it says and, but in the context of the writing, they both mean the same thing.
No, it doesn't.
Let me finish before my brain breaks down.
Okay.
It's 3 a.m. So when it refers to the image of God, it's not saying him as how we see him. It's referring to the non-material part of man, the spirit side of man. So it's setting. It means that that because we were made in God's image and likeness, it's setting us away from the carnal world. So we fit because God made us dominions over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over the land, cattle of the land. So he's given us that dominance. That's what he's talking about with the image and the likeness, that he gives us that. If you want to put it in this context, he makes us like gods because we are the head of the food chain, essentially.
No, I'd agree with on the image that is a sort of phantasmal thing, but the likeness is, and that is why the two words are there, to clarify that we're not only there as sort of a representative, his image, but we are there as a likeness, which is, well, Strong's, as in resemblance, concretely model shape. If
I remember correctly, they later on in the book say sons of God, referring to man, right?
Yeah.
You mean the Nephilim?
Yeah, so wouldn't that mean pretty much the likeness is that we're the sons of God, pretty much? Would be another reference to the same thing.
I'm not sure where you're coming from.
He refers to Adam as the son of man, I think, the son of God, I think it is, right? Sons of God.
Yeah, Jody. Oh, it's gone.
The sons of God were the Nephilim, which means giants. That's the problem. This is a much older story, and it's the story of when Elohim was one of 7 gods.
Oh, you mean the Babylonian gods, right?
Yeah, and so the whole thing's been collapsed down.
He was El.
Yeah.
He was El, and he was a storm god, if I remember reading correctly.
That's right. Yeah.
And Baal was his uncle, and he had like a wife and
the
such.
Sea god. And Baal
no, that was Dagon. That was Dagon.
This is in the
Assyrian.
Oh, what is it?
Assyrian Babylonian.
Yeah. Baal was the river god, and
no. You're thinking of Dagon.
Oh no, Dagon's Samaria, isn't it?
No, Dagon is like the sea god.
Yeah.
Something
yeah, but then when it moved up, is it to Erech, up in
Canaan,
northern
Canaanite,
Syria, then Baal
Canaanites.
became sea god? I'm not sure.
A ball is like the bull. Is a bull. I know it's represented as a bull.
This is the trouble when you start to try and make sense out of the Bible. You quickly fall into despair.
I wonder if Lazy Boy has something to say. Yeah.
It's getting late for me. It's now 3:08, 3:10 basically. I have college in about.
Also, wait. There's a question. There's a question from the audience. I forgot to ask. 1 sec. Let me try to find it. Oh God, this is a while ago. Oh crap. Where is it?
Oh, bored to bits. Just send me your YouTube thing so I can have a look at it tomorrow.
Yeah,
Here it is. Here's it.
My YouTube channel's bored to bits, funnily enough. But
I would like to ask if anyone believes in communicating with spirits to receive messages for others.
Wait, what?
That's what someone in the chat room asked.
Wait, say that again.
I would like to ask if anyone believes in communicating with spirits to receive messages for others.
No.
Well, yeah, I don't.
Yes and no.
Yes and no?
Yeah, how's that an answer?
Do you want me to clarify?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I would say yes because you in the Christian faith you have different ranks. You've got deacons, the pastors, the bishops, and the archbishops. With the archbishops, they receive word from God if anything goes down in the church. My archbishop knows where I stand spiritually better than I do because he's got more of a relationship. That and I'm a part of his church.
Are you a Catholic?
No.
Because it sounds like Catholicism.
No. Catholics do have archbishops and bishops, but they have a pope. The highest rank for Christians is archbishop.
So what are you then?
I am just an attendee.
No, I'm saying what religion is it? Like what sect?
Oh, what I'm a part of?
Yeah.
Greek Orthodox. Well, that's what they call the church anyway. But yeah, where was I? You interrupt me and I lost track.
You were explaining about bishops and how it somehow relates to spirits.
Yeah. He with my archbishop, because he receives word from God directly, he will know me better than I know myself spiritually. So that's where I can pretty much say that yes, he can receive words from a spirit or from God to pass on information to me. But where I don't believe it is if you go into what are they called? The people with the round ball, and they're like, I'm speaking to the spirit, blah blah. Of
You mean gypsies?
Yeah, basically.
So who
fucking
chose
hate pikers.
who chose your archbishop to be the spokesman for God?
Say that again, sorry.
Who chose your archbishop to be the spokesman for God?
Basically, with our ranks, we don't have a voting system. The Catholics have a voting system. With the Christians, though, if to become a deacon, the overseer of the church, which is my archbishop, he will receive confirmation from God saying, I want this person to be a deacon. And I know what you're thinking now. Oh, well, it's only confirmation from one person. We have a head pastor who pretty much does the same job as an archbishop in our terms, because she helps run the church and everything. She will also receive confirmation. And at any time...
So your God, who is omnipotent and omniscient and omnipresent, hasn't told you. He hasn't got to tell you to trust your archbishop. He just tells your archbishop, and your archbishop tells you to trust him.
No, he doesn't tell me to trust him. It's my choice to trust him, not. I do personally trust him because I've come to him with problems and he's given me advice.
But why doesn't God just tell you? Why doesn't God say to all Greek Orthodoxes? Because it costs God nothing. He's omnipotent. He can do anything he wants. So why doesn't he just tell all Greek Orthodoxes, just whisper in all your ears one night, this is the new Archbishop, and then you'd all have no doubt at all, would you?
No, yeah, I know. I can see where you're coming from, but it's more to do with your servitude and your relationship with God. I have yet to get to that stage. I mean, I still get confirmation from God here and there, but stuff like that, I have no reason to know, you know.
You let that one slip quickly. You get confirmation from God now and again. How does that happen?
Like, if I ask him for help in a situation, he'll give me the help. You know.
And how do you know he's giving you the help?
Because I ask for a sign, like a clear sign that I will understand. You know, like the other day, I won't go into full detail. I probably will. Try not to. The other day, I was just generally talking to God, like, give me a sign over this situation I'm having. Blah blah blah. Stuff happened during the night, like not between me and God, just myself. And currently my Archbishop is in Africa, and he had, like, we haven't spoken to him because he left on Monday, but he sent a video today that he recorded on Friday or Saturday, I think, of like how the trip's going, and he was ministering to a bunch of people in Africa, and everything that he said was pretty much what I pretty much asked God, like, the night before.
And what kind of things do you ask God?
Why didn't God just tell? Why does God have to tell him to put on a video to send it to you? Why didn't God just tell you? I mean, God's omnipotent. I know God's omnipotent, but he hasn't got.
I mean, it sounds like to me Catholicism, pretty much what you're telling me, because like the Catholicism has the Pope, because for some reason the people can't understand God. I don't get it either, but yeah.
No, I don't understand Catholics. Catholics are weird.
Yeah, but you know, if I asked God a question and God answered me, I'd think fair enough. If I ask God a question and then have to wait a couple of days for somebody the other side of the world to post a video on a thing and that, then I'd think, well, why isn't God talking to me?
It comes with your servitude, and it's not just you asking God, like, oh yeah, give me this answer. Like if you're going here about that, you're demanding from God.
Yeah, but you've got a video.
I don't get it, because he could have just told you the answer, but instead of this, of just telling you what's the answer because you're not worthy, or I don't know why, he chose to still give you the answer, but do it for a middleman.
It's like the simplest analogy I could think of. It's like God will let you call him, not waiving the charge of long distance service. But then when he wants to call you back, he'd rather get someone else to call him. Then they will call you, so he won't have to pay long-term service at all. So pretty much you're the one paying the long-term service, and your priest is paying the long-term service. It's not like God will call you. God will call someone else to pay for his service, and that guy will call you, so you pay for his service. So yeah, I mean, it seems.
It's only because I asked God for a sign. I didn't ask to speak to him directly, if that makes sense.
Well, can you do that?
I should have, but I asked God for a sign. He gave me a sign. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, but my point is, he did give you a sign, but instead of giving you the sign to yourself, to coming to you and giving you the sign, he gave the sign to somebody else to pass it to you. It seems like a very long road to take.
Yeah, but
like, it makes things unnecessarily complicated.
If my boss at work phones me up and asks me a question, he doesn't expect me to hang up the phone and then wait for my mother to post a video on YouTube the next day.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like with the long-term service thing.
I understand where you guys are coming from. Believe me, I do. But the matter of fact is, I don't know why God done it like that. Yes, he could have very much. Well, sorry, I'm choking a little bit. Yeah, he could have very much just told me directly. But have you ever heard the saying, be careful what you wish for?
Well, what did you wish for that you should be careful of from God?
I didn't wish for anything. I prayed and I asked him, give me a sign. He gave me a sign.
but I'm saying you prayed anyway and you asked for it, so there's no be careful what you wish for because you did wish for it, and but rather, but bearing in mind that when you're asking for something, there's not just your verbal communication. You have lots of thoughts going around in your head, which obviously God's aware of. So God can then communicate back to you an answer which is clear, has complete clarity to you. But instead of that, he plays Chinese whispers with your archbishop, who's got no, your archbishop doesn't know all your mental thoughts and your mental state. And your archbishop then posts a video which anyone can watch that answers your questions.
Let me just stop you there. That sentence that you just said, the one that God knows your mental process, that one.
Yeah.
I can't remember the full sentence, but what you just said there. I won't go into why it speaks to me, but it really does, and this is my point exactly.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is, I mean, how many people watched this video that your archbishop posted?
The whole congregation.
So the whole congregation got your answer from God to your personal prayer.
Well, no, because he did. The archbishop didn't just turn around to the video and say, "Okay, I'm going to speak to Sean right now." Oh, my name's Sean, by the way. Works. He didn't turn around the camera and just say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to speak to Sean right now." Sean, God, blah blah blah, and etc. He didn't do it like that. My archbishop was talking to another congregation in Africa, and what he was saying to them spoke to me.
So it was nothing actually pointed to you. It was just something that you got from him talking.
Yeah.
So I don't see really how you can. God, how do you know God answered? You just. I don't get.
I know he answered. Again, I don't want to go into it because it's a bit personal.
But do you know how many people sit in their bedrooms on a Sunday night listening to pop music and saying that music really speaks to me? I'm not belittling you, but that lyrics of that song really hit the way I'm feeling right now, and it makes me think.
No, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand where you're or why you're questioning it all. I understand that, but because the matter of it is really sensitive to me, I don't feel that comfortable to share it.
Okay. I'll just suggest one thing. I assume you've heard of Darren Brown.
Oh yeah, I was watching him.
Yeah. Have you seen Darren Brown's video on cold reading?
I have. I was actually watching that yesterday.
Well, there you go. I mean, that is a perfect. Darren Brown is an illusionist over here. A very, very accomplished illusionist. He knows a lot of the tricks. And he actually went to America, and he had some challenges over there. And one of them, he got some college kids, about 15 or more of them, and he did a horoscope for every one of them. And they went off and read their horoscopes, and then they had to mark the horoscope out of 10 or something. And he said, "Well, how many have you given me 1 out of 10? No hands up. And 2 out of 10, no hands." Got up to about 7 out of 10, and 1 or 2 hands went up. 8 out of 10, a couple more hands. 9, a few more. The bulk of people gave him 10 out of 10 for their horoscopes. He then got them to swap their horoscopes around, and of course all the horoscopes are identical. Yeah. They were all pure rainbow reading horoscopes, and none of them were perfect. Because in the horoscopes, quite a few things were prophecies for things that would happen in the future. So they couldn't have been right, and yet the majority of kids had given him 10 out of 10 for things that hadn't even happened yet.
Yeah.
And that's cold reading. If you're in a mind and you're receptive to something, you will hear things, and you will say, "That's for me."
Oh yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, if I shared with you what happened, which I won't, because again, it's like I'm not just saying it's personal just to get myself out of the conversation. Don't think like that. It generally is. If I did share what went on, it would make more sense. but again, don't really want to.
No, that's fair enough.
I know that sounds sketchy. Like, oh well, why is he?
Oh no, I appreciate that. You've got the right to do that, but it just sounds to me that perhaps you're not being perhaps as skeptical as you could be. Because, say if you watch Darren Brown, if you read books on probability, and something like Michael Shermer on why we believe things and why we believe what we want to believe, you'll realise that pattern matching processes going on in your brain that trigger words and such like, and you say you will read into things. If it hadn't been that video that you watched, it would be another video you watched or something else. There's something over the next week that may well have triggered the same feeling in your head, and it would have been circumstantial.
Yeah. No, I understand that side of it as well. This is the part where it annoys me, because I know that it wasn't any of that. You know what I mean?
Well, do you have another example? I mean, that's one example. I mean, I'm sure you don't rest your belief in eternal life on simply one example. So do you have another example that you can talk about?
Wait, I got a question for you. What is the benefit of eternal life? Besides the obvious, but what exactly makes it pleasant? Seem pleasant?
I don't get to talk to you anymore.
Well, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going if I'm wrong. But you can watch me burn for eternity.
Well, all right. Well, let's talk about heaven. How old? When you get to heaven, how old will you be?
You won't have an age because you're outside of time.
Yes, but when you die, will you look like when you died, or will you like? Yeah.
No, you'll have a new body, a new soul.
What?
A new soul.
New soul.
A new body. My brain ain't working. Sorry.
Wait. What happens if you like your old body?
Huh?
What happens if you like your old body?
Because this body sucks.
How does it suck?
Because I'm a skinny runt.
So,
Wait, how will your new body look like? Are you deciding that? Does God?
That's a good point.
Preferably, I like myself to look a bit more sexy, but I don't know.
Yeah, but
But then in heaven, all the nerds will look the same. They all look like sexy guys, and there'll be no women because all the women will be in hell. What's the point? What's the point of being sexy if?
I don't know what we'll look like when it says that we'll have new bodies.
Will you have free will in heaven?
Yeah.
Oh, you will. So you'll be able to decide that you don't want to do what God says.
If you really want to.
So wait. Does that mean then God can still cast you to hell right when you go to heaven? Like any moment, if you just
not to follow Him, yeah.
So pretty much, if you say no when you're in heaven, He'll just throw you right there.
I don't know. I would.
So what are you going to do up there? Just for the first million years, what will you do in heaven?
I'd probably walk around the beach.
There's a beach?
Have you ever been on a million year holiday?
I'm looking forward to it.
It seems kind of boring. I think I'd go sick of it.
It sounds relaxed.
What about the second million years? After you've spent a million years walking up and down the beach, what will you do for the second million years?
Swim in the ocean.
You're gonna be.
I can't tell you what I'm gonna do. You know, it's like that. You ask me these questions. It's like, what am I? What?
All right. Here's a question for you. Let's imagine you marry somebody, yeah, and they're a good, lovely person, yeah.
Let me just stop you there. The flaw in your thought process on this right now, I have to actually marry somebody. My current situation is not very likely.
Well, no, I'm just saying. This is a hypothetical. You marry somebody, okay?
Yeah.
And you and you love them very much, and
Yeah.
they die, and then you marry again,
Mhm.
and then you go to heaven. Who are you going to be with when you're up there?
Both of them.
Are they
What
going to
if
like
they
that?
marry? How
Wait,
about
wait, wait, wait.
you
What,
marry?
what,
You
what
marry?
happens? What happens if they had a prior marriage before you?
Yeah.
Does that mean they'll be doing guys behind your back just like that? You,
God.
No, I mean, what if you marry somebody, she dies, you marry somebody else, you die, and then she marries somebody else and she dies. Everybody's marrying everybody together.
Yeah, your first wife will be in heaven, waiting
We're
for
gonna have a
you,
big family. That's as much as I.
waiting for you. You will die.
No, the way
But
the way that it
heaven.
works is, you know, the expression we use, brother and sister in Christ.
Yeah.
We don't
wait,
say.
you have sex with Christ? No. Oh.
No.
So
No,
if
we
you
don't.
so if you're not having any sex, why do you want a good body when you get up there? Because nobody's
I
going
was only joking. I was only joking.
No, but that's what I mean. So there's going to be no sex.
No.
Is that right?
What's the point in heaven then?
Don't be catching me out on anything. Yeah, it's like 3:30.
It's 3:30 here as well.
Yeah.
So
It's 5:29 in here.
so if somebody has their legs amputated and then goes to heaven, are their legs waiting up there for them?
When it says that we have a new body and a new earth in heaven, it's not talking about well, actually, no, it is talking about a physical body. My bad.
It is talking about a physical body. So bearing in mind your partner died 10 years ago and their bones long ago rotted away and the worms ate them.
Mm-hmm.
Where is their physical body coming from?
It's not a physical body, everything's spiritual up there.
It's spiritual.
Physical up there.
And there's nothing physical. I thought, hang on, I've read the Bible. It tells me that it's paved with gold and the walls are covered in jewels. They sound physical.
Gold is a color. A color is physical.
And everyone has a mansion. That's pretty physical. I mean, if you haven't got a body, what do you need a mansion for?
Where does it say mansion?
Says it in the Bible. Everyone gets a mansion. And the place is paved with gold and there's jewels on the walls.
Oh, you're talking about the New Jerusalem thing.
No, this is heaven.
Oh, I thought you were talking about New Jerusalem.
That's what I was talking about. I'm not too sure. My brain's not working. I'd love to have this discussion another time though.
That's the thing about heaven. When it comes down to it, most people think of heaven as it's a nice place, but nobody's got a clue what it's like. And then you talk to there's a case recently in, this week in El Salvador where you're not allowed to it's illegal to have an abortion. This woman is pregnant with this child that is developing inside her with no brain. So this child with no brain is being protected from abortion because apparently God loves it. He didn't love it enough to give it a brain.
If I only had a brain, you know. But yeah, also there's a question in the chat saying, I have a question about heaven. How would heaven be perfect bliss if you knew your family or friends were in hell?
Wait, what?
How would heaven be...
Oh, I've got it now. Yeah, sorry. I missed
Yes,
that.
I know, there's a delay. There's a slight delay.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It says that there will be no tears of sorrow in heaven.
So, pretty much it won't be you.
So it's just going to be barbecue day, is it? You're just going to be all dancing and cheering? Because remember, in the Bible, they actually look down on the people in hell.
Yep.
So you're going to be looking down at them and thinking, hey, that's fine.
You're not going to feel remorse for them. You're not going to feel sorry for them.
So God's going to take away empathy, pretty much it seems.
Well, no, we'll still have tears of joy and...
Empathy is not tears of joy. Empathy is, you could feel for others.
Oh, yeah.
So it seems like God takes away the only thing that really makes us different than,
Well, no, we'll have it for others in heaven. It says... You're adding words into my mouth. It says that there will be no tears of sorrow in heaven. That's it. There are no tears of sorrow in heaven.
So you won't care about the people down by burning in hell?
If you want to put in that context without taking it out of context, yeah.
All right, one last question. If God is all love and all perfect, now I'll give you a little analogy here. We've recently had uprisings in the Middle East, and take somewhere like Libya, which is
Are
very
you
recent.
going to ask the question, why is there war on Earth and why?
No, I'm not going to ask you that at all. I'm just going to say, if you take Libya, Colonel Gaddafi was a despicable dictator.
Yeah.
But however bad he was, it took 40 years before people were willing to rise up against him because they knew the risk.
Yeah.
In heaven, God is the ultimate dictator.
Yeah.
Because he cannot be defeated, he cannot be overthrown, and not only does he have the best, he has a better intelligence service than Mossad, because he doesn't just monitor your phone calls, he knows what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But despite all that, 1/3 of the angels rose up against him.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious.
How bad must God be as a dictator for 1/3 of his population to rise up against him, knowing that they could not possibly defeat him and that they would suffer an eternity of torment for doing so?
Okay. Do you know how the 1/3 fell?
They rose up against him.
What, all at once?
It doesn't matter, does it?
It
A
does.
third of them, despite how perfect he was, they refused him.
One came up against him. Lucifer came up against him because he thought he was better than God.
And so what did the other third do?
Yeah, I'll get to it. Lucifer was a cherub. He was the chief musician for God's music band, basically. If you want to put it in that sense.
Oh, God likes his boogie, does he?
Huh?
God likes his boogie.
Oh yeah. Rock and roll. But no, in all seriousness, he was the chief musician, he was a cherub. He was pretty much like a really high rank. He thought he could overthrow God, he thought he was better than God.
But surely, hang on.
Yeah.
Just before you go further, he was one of the highest angels, so he knew God better than anyone else, better than we could ever dream of doing, and yet he thought he could throw God?
Yeah.
Well, how come you think God's omnipotent if an angel who knows him infinitely better than you thought he could overthrow him?
Because Lucifer's a dumbass.
He's not a dumb. He's not a dumbass. I mean, I guess technically speaking, like this is the thing I don't get. What reason, if he knew God knew everything and all these other things, why would he? Like, what would make him think of this?
I don't know. I do not know.
Well,
God gave all of his angels freedom of choice and free will, like he gave us.
Exactly, and they decided that God was an arsehole.
No, Lucifer thought that, not the other lot.
What did the others do then?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. Lucifer thought that. It said that it then went on to say that God struck him out of heaven like lightning. He fell from heaven like lightning. Yeah, it says
Fell?
something like that.
Where's heaven then? Is that up?
Oh, yeah.
Just let me talk, please, because I want to get through this and go to bed.
Well, yeah, we're gonna end this show soon.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, it says that Lucifer fell like lightning, and then it goes on to say that he dragged 1/3 down with him. Lucifer tricked 1/3 of the angels to come down with him. They didn't uprise against God. He tricked them into uprising against God.
How do you?
Because that's what
but
Lucifer
God
done.
knows what everybody's thinking, so he couldn't have tricked them unless God let him.
Yeah, God lets things happen.
God let him.
Why do you think
trick
what's
1/3
going on? A lot what a lot of people
So
argue
God
is
sacrificed 1/3 of his angels for no reason whatsoever.
Let me ask you this then, or let me say this to you then. Everybody goes on saying, "Oh, if God loves the world so much, why is there war going on?" It's because God isn't the one doing the war. It's the devil that's commencing the war. He's the one who's starting the war.
Where's the devil then?
He's going through with
But
it.
God could, hang on. God is all powerful. God could snap his fingers and the devil would be gone.
To be honest, God wouldn't even have to snap his fingers.
So why does he do it?
So God
I don't
chooses.
know. You ask
God
him.
chooses to allow the devil to do what he does. That's what you're saying.
Pretty much.
That's not an all-loving God. Then,
That's
is
what
it?
I don't get though. It makes it seem like the devil's actually stronger than God. Since if the devil does all this stuff that God just doesn't stop, it's like saying, well, he's my pet. I'm not going to put him on my leash. I'm just going to let him do.
That's like me being a chicken farmer and just throwing a coyote in amongst my chickens and saying I'm a great chicken farmer. Oh no, it's the coyote killing the chickens. I'm a great chicken farmer.
That's a good analogy.
Do you know what? I've got. If I could shake your hand on that, I really would. Because that's a really good one. I like that.
Why? What do you think? You're going to go to hell if you say it?
No, if anything, I'd say that's my bishop to get an answer about that.
He's a chicken farmer?
Huh?
That your pastor's a chicken farmer?
My archbishop, he grew up in Cyprus, so it's very likely he was, yeah. I'd like that.
Is he out there getting your money out of the bank quick?
Yeah.
If I had any money in my bank, he probably would. No, I'm joking. But yeah, it's been great talking to you guys. It's now 3:36. I have college.
And you, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you very much. I tried answering all your questions. I probably failed.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That was interesting.
You caught me out on a lot of them because you just make me laugh.
Well, you can watch it over and comment in the comments once it's up. It'll be up really
Oh, is that the YouTube video? Oh, is that?
Yeah, the first part's being uploaded right now. And I gotta go to bed too.
Oh, this is your dating video. Oh, okay then. Alright, I will put that in my bookmarks.
Wait, this is your what?
No.
Video on
It's,
biblical dating.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, he's talking about that thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay then.
I'd better go off to bed really, it's coming up to 4
What channel is this? Oh, is you guys recording this?
Yeah.
I did not know this. That's cool.
Well, technically, if you're here early, if technically blame Jay Do For You for that, because in the beginning I had to say that stuff of the So yeah, but pretty much we're gonna end the show now. So any final remarks? Anything?
What channel is this being uploaded to?
The Lion Ghost Show.
The what now?
Oh wait.
Lion Ghost.
Here, one sec.
Yeah,
Okay.
just type it in the chat and I'll
Roma, are you on YouTube, Roma?
I have a channel, but I don't use it. I only subscribe to people.
Okay.
And like.
But I'll check you out.
Okay.
But yeah, any final remarks?
Well, I'd say I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for inviting me on.
Well, it's been a pleasure. What about you? And I still can't pronounce her name.
Umi?
Remumi?
You can call me Rio, it's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say Remu or Remui. Yeah.
Reuma.
Yeah. Anything?
Yeah. Just a little mark about the show. I do not know where the music beat came from.
You mean the intro?
As far as I remember, it's just a level of the angel, but either way, yeah, it's good. Nice.
Crazy Boy?
No. I want to go to bed.
Okay, so pretty much, good night, everybody. Tune in next week. Same time, same place. Signing off.
Bye.
Bye.